This is the episode about locking picture. In 3, 2, 1. So this might be our final editing episode in regards to Flesh and Blood. I was actually going to drive over to Dustin's place, who's doing the color correction, and give you some insights on that. But he's actually sitting with Mark right now, and they're doing a color session for the next 2 days. We really got to get going so that we get everything ready for next week to ship it out to a festival. I'm actually going to make some tweaks on the film based on a screening that we had last week with some friends and some pretty big deal industry people. You never really know based on what people say, especially in LA. People kind of don't want to tell you the truth. They kind of bullshit you. But I have to say, we really all felt genuinely like the audience was kind of blown away by the film. The fact that even days afterwards they came back to Mark and just made comments, made remarks, made suggestions. In the way that they spoke about the movie, it genuinely felt like we're on the right track. And this is going to be something special. It's just the fact that you get to sit with them and you get to see the film and feel based on body language and just the atmosphere in the room. There are certain things that I pick up that when I cut the movie and I watch it myself and I've seen it 1,000 times, I might not feel. But immediately, as soon as you have a fresh audience watching the movie and you're there, ideas just pop in your head. And so a couple of things I'm going to address and lock this picture again. Now, we already officially delivered this for sound mix and color correction, so technically we're locked. So there's a certain procedure that I'm going to have to do whenever I'm going to change something so that we're not going to lose sync. At the beginning of the movie, I felt like there was a scene in there where we would be taking an unnecessary risk for the wrong reasons. You've seen this scene in one of the earlier videos where I talk about how to shape an actor's performance. And that scene pretty much stayed the same. And then afterwards, we get into this little move-in montage. I'm going to show you that.
It's good to be home.
And as you notice, that scene feels choppy. There's some jump cuts in there. And the reason why that was originally is because there was a music in that scene. But we actually, a long time ago, decided to remove the music, but the cut never changed. It sort of stands out as choppy editing. And while it's kind of stylistic and maybe interesting to some, I feel like it's an unnecessary risk to take at the beginning of the movie. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean it up and make it less in your face. There are two different schools of editing that I talk about. It's kind of the invisible art, where you don't really notice the editing. And then there's the more stylistic side. If you think about the old traditional way how the Russian Soviet montage, Podovkin, Sergio Eisenstein, and then later translated into The Godfather and other big movies, that's a very in-your-face editing style where you become very aware that you're being directed or manipulated. This is kind of a scene where it feels very in your face, but there's really no reason for it to be there this way. Now, before I change anything, what we decided as workflow is I'm going to take the shots that I might be changing right here, and I'm going to copy them. I'm going to disable them, so now they're disappeared. And then I'm going to put them on a second layer on top, and we'll make my changes in those. So I'm going to paste as connected clip right there. And all the stuff I'm going to put into a new storyline. So this is now its own separate storyline. And what I'm going to do here is this is actually the locked audio work track. And I'm going to cut it right here. And what does that mean? This track here, this is what the sound mixer has in his studio as the work track where he can compare his work against my work. So this is everything that I did sound-wise with the movie mixed into a stereo track. This is kind of our guideline for the sync. So if I make any changes here, this chunk right now here is going to be out of sync, and at this point this will continue the sync over at his place as well as the color correction online. So whatever changes I make within this little sequence here potentially move the sync over here. If I make it longer or I make it shorter, I can move it in the other direction. And the sync of everything else will be still attached to this piece here. So I hope that made sense. It's fairly straightforward, I think. We've never done it like this before, but it's because we're working with Final Cut 10, and Final Cut 10 has a different way of representing media. It's not track-based, it's kind of more magnetic timeline-based. But anyway, so now I'm going to get into the cutting. So what I want to do is I want to clean this up. Anything where I feel like this is too stylistic. This is good. This still works. Yeah. Like this cut right here. That's throwing me for sure. Like I don't need that shot here. And this, so I want to cut here. Okay, not bad. Look one more time. I really just need this piece of information where he picks up the shoelaces. You have to remove your shoelaces when you get checked in, and then when you come back, when you get released from jail, they give them back to you. And the reason being is they don't want you to have this, to use it either as a shank or to hang yourself or something. If you know this, then you understand that these shoelaces have a certain meaning to somebody who's been in jail. I feel like I want to cut right here. So do I really need this box here? Probably not. And then this cut too. Maybe I just don't need this shot here. Yeah. Good, good. Do I really need this shot here? Let's try without. And then it seems weird. Maybe I do need the shot of him opening the tub. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Let's take a look at this again. Okay, not bad. I still feel like it's too much. What do you think? Any shot I could remove? Anything that feels too choppy? Let me just play it one last time. Full screen. See how I feel about it.
It's good to be home.
Now I notice something here. He comes down, he looks at the laces, and then he looks away. Let's not have him look away. He looks at the laces, right there. And I know I'm not supposed to scrub. I'm supposed to find the cut in real time, but sometimes that's what you do. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to cut right here to the laces. So there we go. So this is the final scene. I cleaned it up and I made it shorter. And that's really important at the beginning because the audience is not hooked yet. And every second is valuable. And I took out 6 seconds to get to the good scene, which is really this scene here, where he meets his little brother for the first time. Where I noticed this is where the audience gets hooked and for the first time starts to identify with the characters. With that, I'm going to now change the sync of the movie. I'm going to take all this stuff out here. Now I lifted this from the storyline, and now I'm going to move the sync to its new place. I removed 6.5 seconds, and this work track moved right along, and we're good to go. There are 2 or other 3 moments that I noticed we could use a little fixing. I'm going to do that by myself, but we're basically officially locked. I'm going to try next week to do an episode with Dustin together about some basic color correction. I'm also going to see if I can hook up with Hugo, our sound designer, re-recording mixer, get to his studio, and we can look at the movie on a big screen and see how he works on the audio. Before I go, I want to share how I deal with feedback that I get on a cut. People will tell you whatever they're going to tell you. My advice to you is listen to the problems that they're having. Disregard any advice on how to fix it. That's your job as a filmmaker. Just see who has a problem with what, and am I going to recognize this as being an actual problem of the film. Stephen King has some great advice on receiving and dealing with feedback. He says, whenever somebody says he hates something, but there's somebody else who says he likes it, that's a tie and it goes to the writer, or in this case, the filmmaker. So you don't have to change it at all. If everybody points out the same problems, you might want to consider addressing that problem. For every one of those clear-cut issues that you come across, you're going to get 1,000 little things that people want to fix or address, and most of the time they are contradicting, and you can never make it the perfect movie anyway. Even though that's kind of the end of Flesh and Blood, you should still subscribe because there are new things coming up. There's a new project I'm currently negotiating the deal for that hopefully we're going to come to terms, and hopefully part of that is going to be that we put it up on This Guy Edits. So until next time, I see you soon.